Evening peeps, good evening everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Addy and G-Man episode 6 is up now. If you haven't already seen it, I'll put the link up here somewhere. It's also available as a podcast as well. Just search Addy and G-Man. We spoke about so many different things, but obviously the main talking point was TKO boxing. We didn't really know what we were talking about just because no one knows what it is. No one knows what it's going to be. Obviously, apart from Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh. But yeah, we spoke about that. We spoke about Gervonta Davis. I think just now it's broken that the New York State Athletic Commission will not overturn that result. Surprise, surprise. We spoke about Paddy Donovan and that disqualification. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, the fact that Katie's not fighting in Ireland as well. So look, it's a bumper edition and it's up now. So yeah, go and give it a watch if you can. I have literally just got back from the British Boxing Board of Control Awards luncheon. Quite disappointing that a lot of the fighters that won awards weren't in attendance. It loses a bit of stardust when that's the case. In fact, Daniel Dubois was there. I saw Daniel Dubois when I came into the building. Daniel Dubois won Fight of the Year. He would have known he was winning Fight of the Year and he left. I don't know. I'm guessing it might have been an emergency, but he left. So he won Fight of the Year. Fight of the Year was Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark. Well done to them. 100% Fight of the Year. Overseas Fighter of the Year was Michaela Meyer. So it means a fighter from overseas that has fought in Britain before everyone jumps on and says, what about Usyk and Bivol, Benavidez, etc. What else was there? Young Fighter of the Year, Adam Azim. Trainer of the Year, Don Charles. And a few other awards as well. But that was my first time going to the British Boxing Board of Control Awards, and it was nice. It was nice to meet a lot of the fighters, a lot of people that work in the sport. I had a nice conversation with John Conte, and I was like, fucking hell, this is John Conte. Still looks fit, I don't know how old he is. I'm guessing he's late 50s, maybe early 60s, but he looks in incredible shape as well. All right, it has been a crazy few days in boxing, crazy. And I've always said that boxing is the wild, wild west. So for me to say it's been crazy says a lot. I think once Turki and Dana White dropped that bombshell, no other news mattered. Like, they did that on the day that Canelo had a press conference, or at least the day before Canelo had the press conference. Canelo's press conference didn't even get a mention in the back pages. It was all about Dana White, TKO, Turki Al-Sheikh, Nick Khan, and what this means for the sport of boxing. I specifically, though, want to talk about the WBC because you guys would have seen the Canelo and William Skull face-off. By the way, how big is William Skull? How big is he? And I was this old when I found out that William Skull wasn't American. I honestly didn't know too much about him. In fact, I knew nothing about him. But I was so surprised by the size of him. I was like, my God, this guy is enormous for a super middleweight. Anyway, it wasn't even that I was going to talk about. You guys would have seen the image or the video footage of Turki with a Ring Magazine belt and the undisputed belt. And Canelo, bear in mind, Canelo is the biggest name in the sport of boxing. Canelo making a beeline, I think it was Eddie Reynoso, that was going to give him his WBC belt, right, to hold as well. And you all saw Turki say, nope. And Canelo go to Eddie and say, nope. And I was like, oh my God. He has literally shunned the WBC belt. And look, maybe I'm making too big a thing of it, but I think you guys know the relationship that Canelo has with Mauricio Sulaiman. Like, it's like that, right? Mauricio Sulaiman at times, and I thought this was wrong, but at times he's worn Canelo hats. Like, that's how strong that bond and relationship is. And by Turki saying no to him, I think Turki's making a statement here, and a big one as well. I think Turki is trying his hardest to make sure that these organizations, these belts mean nothing as quickly as possible. This isn't a slow thing. This isn't let's tread softly. This is, okay, we are going to smash a peanut with an axe now. Hope you guys understand that analogy. The WBC, though, are fighting back. I think you guys would have noticed that the certain WBC title holders have all of a sudden taken to Instagram and said how much we love that green and gold belt. I saw Mario Barrios do it. I saw Carlos Adames do it. Many have done it. And obviously they've done it off the back of being told to do it by Mauricio Sulaiman. This is war. There is no other way to describe it, is there? It's a declaration of war, what's happened. And I don't know how this is going to play out. Honestly, I really don't. This isn't like the UFC. And we make that comparison because obviously Dana White's involved. This isn't like that because these organization bodies, WBA, WBC, WBA has been around for over 100 years. WBC, every fighter wants to win that belt. Every fighter wants to win that belt. Once you get past a certain level, whether it be a case of you win British and European titles or North American titles, the next title you want, the world title you want is the WBC. So if Turkey is of the thinking that fighters won't care about that and will maybe care more about the Ring Magazine belt, I just don't know if that's the case. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe it is. Who knows? Maybe fighters already now just say, okay, no, I just want that. I want that. I don't necessarily care about the belts. I just don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. But look, I guess we'll find out, right? Because this is all going to come to a head very quickly. And I don't think we're going to have to wait long. I really don't. Will fighters start vacating belts? Mate, this is going to be interesting. I think a lot of the language used as well, we're going to crush promoters. Dana White basically saying that we don't need 3 letters on a belt to signify who is the best. It's almost basically saying all those governing bodies can do one. I don't know. The only way I think this works, this TKO boxing league, and look, maybe it's not in the next year, maybe it's not in the next 5 years, is if they sign up all of the fighters, the top fighters, all of them. Again, like the UFC, there are a scattering of good fighters in other organizations, but the premier organization which has the most talent is the UFC. And then there's the others. Now, TKO Boxing League going to need to, I guess, in the next 5 or so years, sign all the best talent. All the best talent. And then whoever becomes champion in their league, we know is champion. Because you can't, if you don't sign all the talent, and there's very good fighters out there that win the WBC, the WBA, win those belts, it even makes it even more confusing because it's going to be like, okay, there's a TKO Ring Magazine champion over there who they're telling us is number 1, but there's a WBC heavyweight champion over here and a WBA. It's all splintered. It's all confusing. I don't know how this plays out, but I do know this. The WBC, the WBA, again, over 100 years, they're not just going to accept this lying down. They're not, because you're crushing them. And they're organizations that make a lot of money each year from sanctioning fees, and you're trying to shut down their business. Boy, oh boy. All right, let's have a look and see what else there is to talk about today. Savannah Marshall and Layla Ali. This might be a long video actually because we haven't done a proper single video in a while. And Savannah Marshall and Layla Ali could be next for Clarissa Shields, says promoter. If that's Dimitri Salita talking, he's talking nonsense. He's talking nonsense. Layla Ali, like, what are we doing? She's 48. When was the last time Layla Ali had a fight? Like, what are we doing? Like, no, Layla Ali is 47. She last had a scrap when? She last had a scrap 2007. Did you hear what? She last had a fight against Gwendolyn O'Neill, February the 3rd, 2007. And you dare mention her name. She's not had a fight for 18 years. Have I got that right? 2007. Yeah. And you're trying to bring her out of somewhat Stop right now. Savannah Marshall just makes sense. I said this the other day. I don't know who I was speaking to. I said Savannah was supposed to fight on the Tasha Jonas, Lauren Price card. I don't know who she was going to fight, but it didn't work out. It's obvious for that to happen. I actually think that the most obvious thing is Clarissa versus Savannah on the undercard, which I know will piss off Clarissa, but the undercard of Katie Taylor versus Amanda. But Clarissa won't want to be on the undercard, so that ain't happening. Lamont Roach Jr., unsurprised, New York State Athletic Commission declined appeal of Gervonta Davis's draw. I guess, look, what can you make it? I don't think you can overturn it to a Lamont Roach win. I think that will go down bad. A no contest, it's difficult. It's difficult. But the New York State Athletic Commission were never, ever, ever going to do something which will in any way harm Gervonta Davis. They want the Gervonta Davis business. Gervonta Davis did the second highest gate ever at the Barclays. You want that guy to turn up and fight in your arena, in your state all the time. You don't want to piss him off to the point where he says, fuck New York, we're not doing anything there again. So they were never going to rule against Gervonta Davis. For Lamont, no. It's not over for Lamont Roach. Obviously, I think there is an appeal with the WBA. The WBA can order a rematch. But in saying that, Gervonta Davis could say, fuck the WBA and throw that belt as well. So who knows how it's going to play out. But it was never going to happen where Lamont Roach was going to somehow get that overturned by the New York State Athletic Commission. All right, let's talk about Lauren Price versus Tasha Jonas. I watched that card. I watched it from the Caroline Dubois fight up. A little bit disappointed in Caroline. I think Shane McGuigan after said that she had a bit of a flu or something. But obviously it was such a big event, Royal Albert Hall it was. If you can fight. And I thought for the first 5 or 6 rounds, I thought she was boxing well, although she was getting caught with like good shots that I don't think the commentary team were picking up on as much. That's not a dig at, was it Andy Clark and who else was there? There was there was a female there. I can't remember who it was. It's not digging out on them, but they weren't really picking up on what her opponent was doing. But the last couple of rounds, her opponent was putting it on her, man. She was shattered. And I was just thinking, I was watching that thinking, Beatrice Ferreira, and I was thinking, I'm a huge Caroline Dubois fan, but that performance made me wonder because the work rate of Beatrice, I did her fight in Monaco. She don't stop. She don't stop and she got power. She don't stop and she got power. So yeah, I'm not quite sure about that one. Lauren Price was fantastic. I gave Tasha no rounds at all. That was a shutout for me. I think they gave Tasha a couple of rounds. That was a shutout. Lauren was too fast. Not just her hands, feet were fast. Combinations were fantastic. Even when Tasha would land, she would land back just to make sure that she wins the round, no questions asked. I thought she was very aggressive, very strong looking. She an issue. I would make her favourite right now against the winner of Michaela Maya, Sandy Ryan. Honestly, I'd love to see Chantel Cameron jump up to 147. But obviously, a lot of people have been talking about this now. The super fight could be her versus Clarissa. She doesn't have the name yet for that to be a super fight, but no disrespect, you look at the names that Clarissa's recently fought. Who are they? So if Boxer can come together with a package, Clarissa's desperate to fight someone. And I think the public would be more interested. I think the public might be more interested in that than Savannah. Because we haven't seen Savannah do anything since the Clarissa fight. Savannah's fought, I think, once. Lauren's an Olympic gold medalist. Again, so aggressive. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. Obviously, Clarissa's favourite, but man, it's a very, very good fight. A fight that I would love to see. So let's see what happens there. Timothy Bradley. Gervonta Davis is not overrated. He is overrated. It's very slightly overrated, but he is overrated. I just don't like about Gervonta, and I like Gervonta. I think he's great for the sport of boxing. I love the fact he's menacing. I just don't like the fact that you are in charge. He is in charge. He is very much where Floyd was when Floyd would pick his opponents and decide who he's fighting. He's very much where Canelo is, where Canelo picks his opponents. Gervonta's got that power. And the reason I say this is because there are fights that we want to see right now, or even in the past, that only haven't happened and didn't happen because of Gervonta. Like, we wanted to see Loma 3 years ago. I still would watch it now, but the reason Gervonta didn't fight Loma 3 years ago was Gervonta's side of the team, right? Clearly it wasn't Loma's. Loma would have taken that fight, just like that. Devin, when Devin was 135. Shakur Stevenson. Like, Keyshawn Davis right now. Like, give us the fights, man. So I can't judge how good you are because, unfortunately, you're not fighting the top dogs right now. You're not fighting the top dogs right now, and you didn't fight the top dogs before. It's true. I can go down his resume, and at the time, these weren't the fights we wanted. Yes, we wanted the Ryan Garcia one, but no rehydration cap. I think we can all see how big Ryan is. Yeah, man. I don't know. Good win for Harlem Eubank, dropping Tyrone McKenna in Brighton. He's got that market to himself now, isn't it, down there on the south coast? The 147, that fight was at 147, I believe, right? 147 division's thick. Like, thick in this country. There's so many 147. Also, we've got Josh Taylor. Think about this. We've got Josh Taylor versus Eckert Usman. A point because that fight is in Scotland. It looks like we're going to have Conor Walker versus McCormack, potentially. Looks like that one is close to getting over the line. We saw Lewis Crocker versus Paddy Donovan. I don't know what Conor Ben's going to do after the Chris Eubank fight. We've got Chris Congo is around as well. Michael Mickinson, let's not forget him. It's solid. Honestly, there's loads of fights that can be made. Turkey Al Sheikh no longer interested in Dimitri Bivol, David Benavidez. Obviously, look, he wants to, that's been ordered, I think, by the WB. Is it the WBC that have ordered that? Again, if it is the WBC, then let me see. Yes, ordered by the WBC. What's going on there? What is happening? There's clearly an issue, which is crazy because aren't Riyadh season sponsoring this WBC kind of grassroots boxing thing? I don't know what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, I actually would prefer, I think, to see Bivol Benavidez now than Bivol Beterbiev, just because I've seen Bivol Beterbiev now 24 rounds. And so because I've seen it, I think we know it's going to play out. Well, there are stories, and I know there's sparring stories which should be kept secret, but they've been made public that Bivol got dropped by Benavidez in sparring. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that one, but Turkey doesn't want it. So it probably means it ain't going to happen unless Bivol decides to fight him in America. This is Benavidez on a PBC show or something for a fraction of what he's going to get paid to do stuff with Turkey. A fraction. All right. Look at this as a headline. Dominant Caroline Dubois defends WBC lightweight title by majority decision. It wasn't dominant. I watched the fight. Don't get me wrong, it shouldn't have been 95-95. One of the scores were ridiculous, but it wasn't dominant. I think even Dubois knows that. Eddie Hearn, we don't rely on Saudi Arabia to run our business. Here we go. Oh my God. Here we go. And I actually liked Eddie's stance on this. It came out swinging, like I'm the best promoter in the world. Like, I liked Eddie's stance on it to sort of fly. And I think Eddie kind of handled it very, very well. Be very interesting to see how Frank answers the same questions, because Frank and Turkey's relationship is a lot longer and I think a lot more solid than Eddie's relationship. So it'll be very interesting to see what Frank has to say about it. Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen set for a rematch on May 17th. Okay. Yeah, Copper Box as well. I think a lot of people maybe thought it was big enough to go to the O2 Arena. No, not yet. I mean, you can go to these venues, but I feel like go to these venues when you can pack out the venues. I'd rather you go to a venue that you can pack out for a better atmosphere than you go to the O2 Arena and you have to shut off one side or put black curtains up on the top floor areas. Copper Bosch, I think, has 7,000 or 8,000 capacity. He will get the 7,000 or 8,000. That's perfect. Perfect. And well done to Johnny for going straight back in as well, because there's some talk about maybe him not going back in. But I think Dave Allen deserves the opportunity. So, yeah, they're doing it. Sergey Kovalev swan song to come against Artur Mann, April 19th. Who's that? I feel like I know that name. Artur Mann. Let's have a quick look. Artur Mann. Boxer. Okay. I know I've seen this guy fight before. German, 34. Won his last couple. Has, what's his record? 22, 4-0. 34 years old. You know what? Where is that guy that beat Kovalev last time? Remember that guy that beat Kovalev in Saudi? He was quite good. I don't think I've heard about him since. Let's quickly see if we can find him. What's his name again? Robin Safar. Robin Safar. Has he fought since? No, he hasn't fought since. That was last year, May. Hasn't fought since. Bit of a joke, that, isn't it? All right, guys, girls, we are done.